Redemption Project, we're tackling these issues. We're going into the schools, into the juvenile system, and actually dealing with the food issues. Also character building. So we're going to talk a lot about that. Hey, Phil, how you doing today, man?
I am great, Dr. Paul. Good to be here with you in Burlingame this Sunday afternoon.
Yes, beautiful day. Beautiful day to be talking about the real issues that are going on. And one eye is also looking at the game.
see, it's behind me, guys. I want you to listen so they can all check out the game. I got to look at Stephen across the street. But that's okay. Dr. Paul, let me go back to something you just said a few moments ago. You're talking about the whole idea of, you kind of started, you said school, okay? But, being a teacher, okay? Allow me to say this. After having taught in a prison for like 12 years, right? I have come to the conclusion, or should I say an understanding, that men who are in prison, now get this as an analogy, right? Men in prison are at the same mental acuity as kids in high school. Because many of them have come in while they were either in high school or just after high school. So their so-called training has, quote unquote, stopped. Okay? So now they are inside. They don't know what to do. So I'm not going to do what? I'm not going to jail, whatever time I got to do. Or I'm going to get some education. All right? So now we come outside. Guess what? The kids outside have the same situation. Many of them don't have both families in the home. You got one parent, either male or just the mom. Okay, and some of them are in school and they've stopped because, quote unquote, dare I say this, some of us as teachers have given up on them. And I hate to say that, but that's really kind of the situation.
You're dealing with that same demographic,
right? That's my point. That's exactly my point.
Right, and really what we're going to tackle here, here we are with the co-founder of the Redemption Project, Phil.
Right.
Phil, tell us about, some of the things, because we're dealing with University of Pittsburgh providing us some stats on bullying and nutrition.
Sure.
Could you tap in just a little bit with that?
Yeah, Bill brings up a great point. I think in the show last week I mentioned some data that's been out there for probably about 10, 15 years. 25% of the young adults, students who attend high school drop out. They're 8 times more likely to move into the correctional system than their counterparts.
Right.
And so, as you come to your point, Bill, this thing becomes cyclical. There's personal development, character development, there's educational training,
yes.
There's nutritional literacy, all those things that they need to learn and really take and be able to interpret so that they can make what I'll call substantive changes in their life. They don't do that in high school. Once they get into the correctional system, that kind of vocational and environmental literacy training doesn't take place.
Yes.
And so what we end up having is 47% of these individuals come back out or go back to prison within 3 years at the state correctional facility level. So it's a cyclical system. What we've tried to do, to your question, Dr. Paul, what we've tried to do at the Redemption Project is create an evidence-based program whose mission is to disrupt the school-to-prison pipeline. And so the symbol of this multidisciplinary team here that we're really trying to attack this in a comprehensive way. And so I'm going to put a pin in the University of Pittsburgh Medical Center data for just a second and come back to that. But what we're really trying to do is create opportunity for folks who are coming through our program. And keep in mind, we have a 3-tiered approach, kind of the K through 8 school level. We have a juvenile detention center level, and we also attack this at the correctional center level. But we're really looking to transform the lives of these individuals by promoting personal responsibility, environmental literacy, nutritional training, cultural competency, so they can become productive citizens as they re-enter the marketplace. And so with all of this backdrop, you mentioned a second ago, Dr. Paul, about some of the data that we've seen through the University of Pittsburgh Medical Center, who happens to be our health partner with our keep in mind, we've got this, as I said, this 3-tiered approach. We're attacking this problem, K through 8, personal development, character development, aggression reduction training. We're approaching it at the juvenile detention center level, again, with replacement training and a variety of additional resources around post-secondary education and getting them job opportunities, and then really providing information and insight around going back to college and the next step. And the third component of that is really going into correctional facilities with a really significant, robust program where we are measuring the effect of nutrition on antisocial violent behavior as well as healthcare outcomes. So the University of Pittsburgh Medical Center is a healthcare partner there. They've come out with a lot of research.
Yes, they have.
Really shared research with us. We've done our own due diligence. That there has been projects out there that have really shown evidential data that where a proper nutritional diet, in many instances a whole food plant-based diet, can have a significant positive effect on bullying, on violent incidents, on not just behavioral incidents, but also healthcare and medical care outcomes. And so that's what we want. That's where we want to part of the mantra of where we want to focus our program as we move forward.
Okay.
We want to really develop. We've got an evidential-based database program currently for a large component of our program, but we really want to go inside these prisons and see if we can institute this concept of how nutrition can affect these other areas. So again, we're really excited about the program. UPMC has been really just a great partner for us. We talked about ADHD. We're looking at high cholesterol levels, blood sugar levels, diabetes levels. We think we can have a significant impact on all of those maladies, if you will, through helping to change the nutritional diet. And as I mentioned last week, it's not just helping to educate the inmates around what they're eating, but also teaching them how to cook.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
I was going to come back at that.
And I just wanted to take one real quick stat since you mentioned quick stats. Juvenile to prison, 75% of all violent inmates have a sugar level problem.
Wow. Wow.
That goes back to what we speak all the time here on the Green Hour about your liver, your pancreas, your kidneys, the filters of the body,
right,
and how that affects your brain. What's happening specifically, that liver is the organ of the emotions, deals directly with the brain.
Right.
So when your liver's out of order, your brain's out of order, causes aggressiveness, on every level. So the refined sugars, the refined salts, things like that, the processed foods.
Go back to the point of aggressiveness.
Yes, aggressiveness.
That's what you're really dealing with incarceration, on incarcerated guys. Okay.
Exactly. And also, we have another stat, and we already. Bill, you rolled off a stat. We're going to roll that stat right now. Okay? Give us another stat.
He does that all the time. Maneuver, like number 3 here in my
57, year 2017.
No, that's not loud. This ain't cute.
59 to 73. Research has revealed that a substantial number of youth are bullied each
You're not live.
Even so,
You're not live.
a complete understanding of the heart.
Did you get it right on the spot at the top? I thought it came in.
Yeah.
In the current study,
They came in right together.
Okay.
The music and the voice started at the same time.
constituted an
Oh, okay.
important
Yeah, I
part
thought it got cut.
Oh, no,
That
no.
was what's in my ears.
I put it right on the
and that behavioral
Okay.
sensitivity
You got that stuff as
may
well.
vary across
Call-
deviant
call-
and non.
He's on now.
He's on that.
We employ
Guys, you that are watching, beware that right now we're playing actually a stat that's coming over the air. So if you're listening to us online, you'll be able to hear all the pieces that are there without having it live in the studio. Just for you to understand and know what's going on, okay? It's not just a dry time. We're listening to it online. Just for your understanding and information.
that poor nutrition
Have,
significantly
25
increases
seconds.
the odds of persistent bullying among youth, and that this relationship is particularly pronounced for non-deviant youth. The findings suggest that efforts to improve the nutrition of non-deviant youth may have the added benefit of reducing
Here we
the
go.
likelihood of engaging.
Yeah, that says it all right there.
Yes, sir.
Dealing with what you eat. What you eat determines your outcome, what you think.
That's good. I have a note right here from Victoria. Victoria says that liver malfunction is very insidious It says we're right on target with these preventive measures.
Mhm.
We want folk to know. That's what we're trying to do here in the rehab, is to prevent these kinds of things. We don't just sneak up on us.
Absolutely.
So grab us with the back of our head. But to give you the information, guys, so if you get what? You have it right in your hand so that you can do what? Make sure that you prevent these things from happening to you personally.
Okay, and Phil, just sort of segueing to our next piece that I wanted to go into, and that's dealing with, talk about the components that we were bringing our next guest in,
Sure.
and how that actually makes a significant role to the Redemption Project, and how these components are outlined, and how we're going to roll with this. How is this thing going to play a role?
Sure. So one of the things that makes our program unique, and I talked about a comprehensive approach by the Redemption Project. Think of it in kind of two categories. One is a three-tiered approach where we're going into the K through 8 level.
Mhm.
We're going into schools with an evidence-based program. Our lead program there is Character Be About It. We're going to be talking to Matt Harris, our Vice President of Sales, in just a second. So Matt will get into a lot of the detail about Character Be About It, but it's a comprehensive program where we really look at training these students by law enforcement, by the way.
Okay.
Law enforcement and the state troopers are the instructors.
Mm-hmm.
We really train them around anti-bullying sort of concepts. There's a number of traits that they're taught. Again, Matt will get into that in detail. Our second level is really around juvenile detention centers. That's where we go in with the aggression replacement training, along with a program that helps to teach these folks who are in juvenile detention centers about avenues that they can utilize, resources out there that they can use. Take a look at post-secondary education. Where do I go if I want to go to a technical school, a college, etc.? What are those opportunities out there? Where's financial aid, etc.? And the third component, as we've been talking about, is we go into state correctional facilities. Interesting component. We right now, for the last 6 to 8 months, we have gotten approvals from the Pennsylvania Department of Corrections to go into 20 to 26 state prison facilities.
Right.
We have over 250 centers, detention centers, and other youth centers that would like for us to come in with our aggression replacement training and character program, as well as 100+ schools that who have signed on and said, we want you guys to come in and implement the program. So we're excited about what that looks like. On the flip side, there's the research project. We're really going to delve into all of the aspects of how does nutrition have a significant effect on behavior and healthcare outcomes. And Bill made a great point. There's a lot of moving parts here, a lot of information we want to gather. At the end of the day, we're looking at reducing recidivism, and improving behavioral outcomes, improving outcomes from a healthcare perspective. And Bill, as you mentioned, empowering these inmates as they're coming back in the street with information so they can make better decisions about what food to eat, which affects their behavior, ultimately affects all of us.
You know what's unfortunate about that, forgive me for cutting across you, is that people forget that these folk are coming home.
Yeah,
That's right.
absolutely.
That's
And
right.
And you want them, as you're saying, we want them prepared to be able to handle all of these things so that we can, first of all, take care of their bodies and their minds. And the rest of it is a lot easier.
Yeah, and also preparing them with something as a credential to say, this is what I can do now.
Yes,
right.
You know,
exactly.
giving them some kind of skill, some kind of outlet, but most importantly, bringing them hope again.
Yes.
You know, because sometimes you're dealing with a hopeless system. You're breaking that pipeline, but you're trying to bring them back hope so that when they come out, there's a hope, there's a chance that they can be somebody again. And that's what it's supposed to be, a correctional system.
Yes.
We forget what the name really means. Correction.
Yes,
Correction.
Yes.
Not long life, punishment, but correction.
Yeah.
So,
Dr. Paul, Bill, 650,000 inmates come back into our community every single year. And to your point, we haven't dealt with those personal and character behavioral issues. Some of those are psychological, some of those are physiological, mental, physical, etc. They haven't dealt with those, and we haven't trained them and provided resources for them to deal with those. And so, as you know, what happens is they come right back into our communities and do the same things that got them incarcerated in the beginning.
Exactly.
So you brought up a great point, Dr. Paul. We also have, as a part of the Redemption Project, a vocational training program. Look, we can talk about all the great stuff around nutrition, around behavior. We got to get them jobs.
We got to get them jobs.
My man.
Get them jobs.
We got to
Yes.
get them trained, and we got to get them jobs. So we have
Yes.
6 courses that they're trained in. 3 are career development and career path choices,
Mhm.
and curriculums that we're really excited about. And then we're also on the back end working with major employers.
Mhm.
I mentioned last week, Team King has come on as one of our strategic partners. We're growing that list exponentially. So anyway, we are really excited about the platform and where we're going, and to our next guest, what
Mhm.
Matt is doing
Right.
and what he brings to the table in terms of character be about.
Absolutely. And that's without further ado. I want to bring forth, we have on the line Matthew Harris, who's the Vice President of Sales for the Redemption Project. And before I do bring him on, I just want to read his bio, okay? For 20 years, he served and protected the citizens of Pennsylvania as a state trooper. During the time, he saw the importance of putting others first. This made it easy for him to want to give back and go into the prevention mode. So in 2013, he formed a nonprofit called All About Character Incorporated, which teaches K through 8 students important character traits taught by trained active law enforcement.
Mm.
The program has grown from 1 school to over 100 in 5 years.
Wow.
Joining the Redemption Project was a natural fit, he says. The Redemption Project mission of reducing recidivism in prisons and his school model of improving student law enforcement relationship just made sense. He
Yes.
looks forward to working and preventing with his preventive approach and spreading it to the masses. Without further ado, we'd like to bring forth Vice President of Sales, Matthew Harris. Matthew, there? Matt, you there? Oh,
Well.
it's a pleasure to have you here on the Green Hour. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I didn't take your thunder.
You left your bones, huh? No, but Matt, we know, I think that, what you do, first of all, we just want to commend you for your efforts and everything that you've done. From 1 school to 100 says it all right there. So we commend you on everything that you've done so far. Yeah.
Hey, Matt, do me a favor if you would. This is Phil. Talk a little bit about just some of the success that you've had, the evidential data that you've been able to gather, pre and post information with existing schools and other prisons and juvenile detention centers, how you've been successful with Character Be About It, and what that looks like. What have been some of the real results and positive outcomes that have come out of the program?
Michael, can I ask you a question right quick? This is Bill, okay? Let's say the guys get started before they leave the institution. Is it possible, is there somewhere online where the guys can tap back in and still be able to continue the educational process without having to just sort of leave it once they get out?
Almost like a post, yeah.
Yes,
like a post,
like a post,
post
something,
evaluation.
Right. Is there
Yeah,
some way to do that?
is there a post evaluation involved with the Penn State? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Get that. I get that. All right.
And Matt, one of the things I can think of right off the top, this must be just want to hear your stand on things. When you look at the media now, you see television, you see the images that officers get now. You being more than 20 years as a trooper, state trooper, that's why I see this program being such an incredible piece for this time right now because of the degrading amount of video footage we see. I mean, you go on the major social media sites, you either see someone getting arrested, beat down, something's going on.
Mm-hmm.
It's bringing a negative image on police officers of all levels. So give us a little bit of an idea of some of the things that the Character Be About program breaks down that gives the civilian aspect of it and the trooper or officers aspect a better correlation with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. 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 Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Okay. Yeah.
Mhm.
Hey, Matt, this is Phil again. Talk to our audience a little bit about, you mentioned earlier it's a 34-week program. Talk a little bit about what that looks like from a component perspective. What's the rollout look like? Initial rollout. What kind of training do they get in the first 4 weeks? Where do they gravitate to in the middle of that training? And what is at the end, what are some of the expected outcomes that we have as it relates to the Character Be About It and Redemption Project training?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Great point. Great point. Mhm. Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Sure.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Excellent.
Sure. Hey, Matt, Phil again. We were talking a little earlier about some of the outcomes of the Redemption Project's character program around anti-bullying, around antisocial behavior. We've got evidential data that supports that, also around relationships or improved relationships with law enforcement. There's also data that we've derived that shows that there is a correlation between some of the students going through the Redemption Project's character program and improved academic outcomes. And so can you talk a little bit to that as well?
Yeah.
You could.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's right.
True.
That's right.
True. That's true.
Absolutely. Yeah. And Matt, also, I know you got stats. You got pre and post evaluation stats, as you said. Just hearing from you, what have you seen? I mean, have you seen those who've come through and then have gone through the process? What kind of results have you seen? Because there's nothing better than a testimony, itself. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can't put it on paper.
Yes.
You know, the Bible says, raise the child up, and in all his days, he's gonna walk that way. You know, you're giving them good foundation. You give them good principles. You know, some things that they've never gotten in something like a school district.
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
sadly to say, you know, but that's a good principles. Did you have something to say?
I was just going to say this. You know, we in the classroom, it's an important time. I don't know how I can say this carefully. When you have teachers, I think sometimes who are afraid to deal with young people, you know, they will look at them, and I'm not going to cast you out, but I'm afraid to say something if you're acting out.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
You get my point? And what
Yes.
I guess I'm asking is that, asking is that your program sort of meets that head on. That's what I'm getting.
Absolutely.
Right.
Great point.
Okay, Matt. Well, Matt, you know, I think that, you know, you're hitting it right on the head. When you talk about, you know, what's happening, you're patching up, you know, a segue where there's a line, and that line is a line that, as we're able to see now because of social media and everything, this is disproportion where you have those who are scared to even say something now.
Yes.
Not even
Indeed.
want to engage with officers.
Yes.
I mean, almost like when a brother gets pulled over, don't know what to do. You know, don't know what to do. So, I mean, this program is excellent for dealing with the emotional side. You know, dealing with how do I even, you know, comprehend this.
Yes.
So
get that.
this is across the board, not just for juveniles. This is for everybody.
Uh-huh.
I see it going.
Man, I was about to say exactly that.
And I see the relationships that you're building
Yes.
that aren't just, you know, a program building, but I see them lifelong skills that they're going to have for the rest of their life. And we say one shall set 1,000 flight, two shall set 10,000 flight.
Yes.
So, you know, this is really an incredible program.
Yeah, Dr. Paul, for those folk who are actually watching on Facebook, some of them are saying that they cannot hear.
Yeah,
and I want them to understand, please, folks, go online and check out WRD for Mainstream and listen to the actual program online. That way you get to hear both sides of the conversation. All right?
Exactly.
You hear what we're saying right here coming in the studio, but at the same time, you'll also be able to hear what's going on. Now, let me get this out here. Guys, you go to mainstreamnetwork.com. Listen player for WRD, right? You'll get it right there, guys. You'll be able to hear both sides of the conversation, all right?
Yeah, you just see our wonderful faces if you want.
I tell you,
all right,
we
do apologize. Yeah, we apologize because everybody blowing up my side. We can't hear. All right, family, we got y'all. All right,
we're thinking about you. We have not forgotten you guys. Okay.
Yeah. So.
All right.
But we got one more. We got a few things we want to tie up, Matt.
Sure.
Also, but before we do that, we're going to take a real quick break. We'll be right back here on the Green Hour.
This is Ron Clark, community
Yeah,
liaison.
they will have to go to either the website.
We trying, y'all. Yeah, we can't do it. Because if these mics get to the speaker, we got feedback. Right? So, Mike pulling strings over here. Super producer. You don't mess with super producer. When they tell you what to do, you just shut up.
That's right. That's
I
right.
used to be a super producer. I used to tell people to shut up. All right, see, thank you, family. Thank you. We got family.
What you got to know?
What's up, Audrey? All right. Flo mad at me. Uh-oh. Flo mad. Well. Flo,
Yes,
what's
yes,
up,
yes.
y'all? Monique. Yeah, she said, I see you later.
Well, everybody,
right, that's okay.
there's a whole lot of you folks here.
Yeah, we're working on it. We'll try to
Yeah.
work on something that y'all can at least hear. But as
Yes,
Bill
Victoria.
said, you go to, what was it? Give me that name.
That site again?
Yeah, what's the
Okay, it's actually mainstreamnetwork.com
mainstreamnetwork.com
/listen
/listen
/player.asp
/ASP
comma station equal WRD
dash
AM.
AM. You got
That's
anything
it.
else, Bill?
That's it.
They can always go on 900 AM.
Just go
They go on the
900.
website
Yeah.
and listen live.
Just go to WRD. Just go to
Mike,
the
he
station
said
website.
I send Michael Ledbetter the link so he can post the link. He's gonna
Yeah.
post the link.
Yeah, I have it posted on my side.
We got
I have
our,
posted
our
on my side.
producers going to put
Yeah.
Are you
on
gonna
the
send it
website
Huh?
the link
Are
for
you-
your all
I want-
producers,
see,
okay?
He doesn't have it on his side, but I have it posted on my side.
All right, we're gonna do last words.
Okay.
We're gonna get Matt's last words and then you tie it up.
I'll tie it up.
Okay.
Come back
And then I wanted to I wanted to get a little bit on with the health piece, to talk about a little bit of the endocrine system. So how we looking on time?
Come back in 10 seconds.
Workshop. Register your 2014 call 888-267-273-3463 or visit IDAAY.
You're listening to The Green Hour.
To the Green Hour.
On Word Radio, 96.1 FM, 900 AM WURD. Independent Black Media.
And welcome back to the Green Hour. This is Dr. Paul Hines here with Bill Morgan and also special guest Phil Walker, co-founder of Redemption Project. And on the horn, we got Matt Harris, who's the vice president of sales. And we've been talking about the Redemption Project and the component, and this specific component deals with character, be about it. So Matt, I want to thank you for so much for chiming in today. You really given us you've given us another level of hope. You know, hope to, they say the hopeless, but we don't use that word. We just say hope. Thank you for all you're doing and all that you've been plugging in for all these years. Going from one school to 100, that's it all right there for me.
I agree with you.
I think that, I just want to get your last words for the listening family.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And without further ado, thank you so much, Matt. And we look forward to speaking to you again real soon. Okay? Okay.
All right.
Take care. Take care. Phil, you wanted some last words, man? I think you can just shine this up a little bit more, man.
Yeah, this has been a great discussion, hasn't it?
Oh, we love it,
wonderful
man.
discussion.
Wonderful, man. Wonderful.
Around this so important topic.
Mhm.
One of the things that we're embarking upon here over the next few weeks, we look at the Redemption Project not just as a program,
Mhm.
we look at it as a movement.
Yes.
That's right. That's
And
right.
so
That's
one
right.
of the things that we want to make sure is that we're partnering with individuals like yourselves and
Mhm.
certainly like Matt and other stakeholders out there who really share our mission around civism and personal development, character development,
Yes.
really helping to empower
Mhm.
not only these students but also folks in juvenile detention centers and these inmates as they come back into society,
Absolutely.
and then we can have some significant impact. One of the things that we're embarking upon,
Mhm.
and we'll see more information on this over the next few weeks, is a crowdfunding initiative
Mhm.
so that we can raise appropriate funding so that we can begin to do the kinds of things that we're about doing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And we've got a number of financial vehicles that will be funding this initiative and funding our project. Crowdfunding is one of those initiatives. So we're going to be looking for ambassadors,
Mm.
okay, out there
All
who
right.
can help us around this crowdfunding initiative. And those ambassadors are individuals, schools, they're law enforcement. These are individuals, again, who share our mission, have a passion about really having some significant, sustainable effect on those that are coming back into our societies. and helping to reduce facilities. So stay tuned and just be aware that there's going to be information coming out both digitally and through the airwaves about this the Redemption Project crowdfunding initiative. So we're going to be looking for ambassadors.
Ambassadors, y'all
Help
hear
us
that?
roll that out.
That's
Looking forward to that.
That's right.
great.
That's
That's
right.
what I do.
And we got a UN connection too.
I'm
So,
sorry.
we got a
That's
UN
right.
connection, y'all.
That's right.
So yeah, you be official ambassadors, and what a better way to recruit. Each one teach one.
Yes.
Each
yes.
one stand on the shoulders of another. We teach this all the time, with the youth, but it needs to be done on this level. So Phil, we want to thank you so much for coming through. Give him a hand, y'all. Let's give him a hand, family. Because the one thing, and time has flown already,
Wow.
and that we
Certainly
are.
has.
Yes, it has really moved, and we want to talk about a little bit of the things that when your body is out of balance, which means the food, the bullying. We talked about bullying. We talked
Yes.
about nutrition.
Yes.
We can actually trace it back to things like sugar, your
Mhm.
refined sugars, refined salts, the things that are in the processes of the food. So with that being the case, there's also one called fluoride and chlorine.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, we're talking about the water. You've been told so many times that fluoride is good for you, but yet it's not good for the body. You need fluorine, but fluoride is actually a byproduct of aluminum.
Uh-huh.
So
Okay.
with fluoride, it's actually one of the, some say even 10 to 20 times more toxic than lead.
Mm-hmm.
But yet this is in our water. What's
Mhm.
going on? Why is it in our water system? Why is it that we are now partaking in water and chlorine, which is, we know these are what they call endocrine disruptors. It definitely tears down the central nervous system. So when you see a child that's been diagnosed with attention deficit disorder, it so wonders they have heavy metal in the body. And this is what we have to look at. Things like getting the body back in balance,
Yes.
getting the body into a nutritional diet. We say in the Bible, life begets life. Only life can give you life.
Yes.
Dead can't bring you life.
I know
The
that's
only
right.
thing that will bring you life is something with energy, with food.
Yes,
So that's why we
yes.
have to emphasize. So that's what this Redemption Project really does. We're rolling up our sleeves, family. We really want to start teaching the youth and people, the society at hand, the level of citizens of what to look for in
Mhm.
your food,
Yes.
how to search for good food. So all of these things, I love the Redemption Project because of the components. Everyone knows that I'm a strong advocate specifically of those things like the chlorine and the fluoride. Why are they in our waters, and what do you do to get them out? So I want to give you a day. Is that cool? Can I give you a word for
Talk
the
to me.
day? You
Talk
want
to
a
me.
word for the day?
Roll one on me.
You want to roll one on you?
Roll one at Because I can't ready for you to
Not
say
to,
just
not to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
all right.
But
all
there's
right.
something that we use to pull out fluoride, chlorine, and heavy metals, and
All right,
shots,
and
and
that would be?
vaccination, and that's actually called glutathione. Ooh, that's a
Uh-huh.
big word.
Yeah, that's a big
old
one,
word.
right?
That's
That's
a
a big one.
nutrient. That's a nutrient. Glutathione.
I keep telling my
Yeah.
young daughter about that.
Yes.
You know, they gotta kill it.
And the body makes it naturally.
Yes.
But if you have high testosterone levels, you
Yes.
don't make a lot of it.
Yes.
So if you don't make a lot of it, that's the natural component that detoxes
Yes.
the heavy metals and toxins out of the body.
Uh-huh.
But if you have a high testosterone level, then guess what? You don't make a lot of glutathione.
Uh-huh.
So the disproportion now of people of color who have high testosterone level, that's why this stuff affects us more than anyone
So
on
you have
the
to have
planet.
that glutathione in there.
You got it.
And you
The
gotta
body
have
has-
it at a specific level,
That's a
if at all
natural-
possible.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay,
So
all right.
glutathione is something that you can pick up at your local stores,
Okay.
at your herbal stores.
Okay.
It is a nutrient. You ever said nutrient?
I
Then
get
say it's a nutrient that can actually be developed where it can pull out all those. You talking about a
Yes.
detox, man?
Oh, man.
You talking about a cellular detox?
Yes, sir.
Or what they call mitochondrial
Look,
detox?
see, there you go.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
50 word on it.
I know
Mitochondria.
that was $9.99.
Okay.
At $9.99 word.
Yes, yes.
So those mitochondria, that means down to the cellular level,
Yes.
we can start to do all of those things.
Great.
So without further ado, that's your herb or nutrient for today.
Well, appreciate that. Hey, guys,
Yes.
listen,
Mhm.
handle your business because
Handle
we
your
are
business.
family.
Yes, and thank you so much again. We want to tie up.
Yes.
We just want to say, for those who want to get in contact with me, I am Dr. Paul. I'm at 215-779-7355. I can be
Yes.
also reached at www.drpaulherbs.com. Also, we are found on Facebook at Dr. Paul, all one word, last name Hopkins, or on Twitter at #DrPaulHerbs. We also have the ladies group, which is the Natural Woman, which is really taking off, Bill. Taking off.
Yes.
Yes. Every Wednesday night at Canaan Baptist Church, 5430 Pulaski Avenue. Starts at 6:30 to 8:30 approximately. And on Friday, men's gathering. And that's at 501 West King Street in the Germantown section of Philadelphia. It
Right.
starts at 10:30 a.m. to 1:30. We want to thank also our producer, Michael Ledbetter,
Yes. Yes.
and Laura
yes.
Lomax.
Yes.
Mike's
Yes.
shooting off Texas like crazy. He's going crazy over there.
Listen, my phone's about to drop off the table.
Also, we want to thank the president and CEO, Sarah Lomax,
Yes.
and the entire Lomax family
Yes.
for
indeed.
providing us a platform for our people.
Yes.
And lastly, we want to always thank our family, friends, supporters. We want to thank our guest today,
Yes,
Phil
Big
Walker.
Phil, Big Phil.
Big
Yeah.
Phil. All right, Phil. And also Matt Harris, from the state trooper, representing Character Be
Right.
About It. We
Indeed.
had an awesome show today.
Indeed.
And so, without further ado, our last statement we always leave with, we say, if you are breathing,
Yeah, got a shot.
Amen.
All right. God bless everybody.
God bless.
Thank you, sir. Enjoy it.
Hey, guys, great show.
Great show, great show, great show.
Here we be one more
Character
time.
Be About It. Character Be About it. Yeah, be about
As
something.
always, as always, guys.
Be about something.